Okay, what's up, everyone? It's Nick and Chris. We're back. It's the UFC Vegas 22 preview. We're going to do all our picks and predictions. First of all, Chris, how's life, sir?
Yeah, life's good, man. Look excited. Saturday, I'm getting my first vaccine. BioNTech, I believe it's called. Getting the first one and then the second one 3 weeks later. So happy to get vaccinated. Not to cause any controversy, but it's a good thing to do, guys. And apart from that, the weather's been absolutely lush. It's a little bit cloudy today here in Hong Kong, a little bit humid, but nice to see the weather warming up, a bit more sunshine. Everyone likes summer. And how's your time going, Mr. Nick?
Yep, I've been enjoying the sun the last couple of days. Been sunbathing on the roof while I work. As you say, it's pretty gloomy outside today, so I might be staying indoors. But yeah, not too bad, man. Just got off interviewing Derrick Brunson. Just finished with
Oh,
that
wow.
one. That was fun. Yeah, got some good stuff from him. That'll be up on SCMP MMA a little bit later, but it's time to get down to business. We're here
Yeah,
to make all our picks and predictions for Derrick Brunson versus Kevin Holland. Saturday night, Las Vegas. Let's go. We'll dive in. Top of the card, Chris, shall we? Let's start
no
with
doubt.
that big old main event. Yeah, let's do it.
This
Brunson,
is
Holland. Who you got?
this is such an interesting fight. You've got two guys, top of their game, both of them just outside the top five, both of them ranked close towards 10. Kevin Holland, I mean, he's the man of the moment, isn't he? He's the man of 2020 to go through five fights and not even just the way he went through five fights, four of those wins by finish. Absolute fantastic momentum coming in. And as well, the thing that made that year so amazing is that really most of it was in the tail end. He had one fight in May, and then from August he had Buckley, Stewart in September. I can't remember who he fought in October, and then he fought Jacare there in December. Um, and absolutely fantastic knockouts. Two contenders probably there for knockout of the year. The knockout on Jacare, and obviously that absolutely superb move on Joaquin Buckley.
Oh, look who's here on the app now. JHK has finally got Fanatics in South
Oh
Korea.
wow, there
That's
is
huge news.
absolutely nothing better to see. Joe Honko join our expert panel of picksters out there. And yeah, this is so hard to choose because you've got Derrick Brunson, train out of Jackson Wink, absolutely fantastic fighter. You've got Kevin Holland, I believe, who is still, I think, with Travis Luter out there. Definitely in the stand-up department, you've got Kevin Holland, got Derrick Brunson now, 37. I think this is probably the biggest wrestling test of Kevin Holland's career. Um, Derrick Brunson, if he does get him down, he has all the ability to keep him down there and work on him. But then at the same time, Kevin Holland is just a fantastic athlete. I don't think we've even seen what he is capable of yet. And that is the one thing that is just swaying me a touch towards Kevin Holland because I am well and truly on that hype train. And I will say to everyone out there, if you're a Kevin Holland fan, if you want to know what's going down with him, definitely check out Nick's fantastic interview with him. The man just oozes confidence.
Yeah, I really don't know who to pick, Chris. It's so difficult, this one.
Yeah, it is so difficult. It's an absolutely fantastic main event. It can go both ways. And with Derrick Brunson being the outsider, it does kind of push me a little bit more in his favor, but I'm going to stick to the hype train. I'm going to go with Kevin Holland, and I am going to go by KO, TKO. I am actually going to side with Drake Riggs for a change.
Mm. Oh my god, I don't know how to pick this one. Yeah, I was just speaking to Derek, and we talked about Yan against Izzy, and he said that's what I was envisioning myself doing against Izzy. And like you say, he could just, if he gets Kevin down, he's got all the skills to just stay on top of him there.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, in that regards, I'm going for the upset here. I'm going for Brunson by decision,
Mhm.
putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going for that triple, that three times. What's it called? Triple or nothing.
Yeah.
But we forgot to mention, Chris, Fanatics, Fantasy MMA. Where can people get it?
It's just Absolutely fantastic app. All the information you want, all the fights, one championship. They're going to add Bellator on there. They've got the UFC. Fantastic groups. Create groups with your mates. Have a bit of banter, have a bit of fun. You can go against Vegas. You can go straight on win percentage. The chat feature is great, and you can link straight to their articles, to their experts. You can link. You've got all the videos links there from the SCMP MMA. You can come and challenge me, Nick, and the rest of the guys. It's available in the Huawei Gallery Store, the Apple App Store, and the Google Play Store. Download it. It's free. It's good fun. And you know what we've added this month after the January and February trials? We have got gifts. Gifts provided by SCMP MMA and Kumite TV, aka John Hyun Ko, the King of Korea.
Yeah. So the link is in the description down there, guys. It's also on the scrolling ticker. Go give these guys a download. Do them a favor. They're stuck in quarantine in Hong Kong because there was some kind of positive case in their building where they work. So the guys at Fanatics have been locked down for about a week now in Penny Bay with inedible food in a tiny cupboard with just a bed. It's really horrible circumstances they're in right now. So cheer them up by downloading the app. It's all good and it's really fun. And we'll be doing all our picks for the show. We'll be doing a recap and then we'll see how we've all done. We'll get the leaderboard out. It's really fun, isn't it, Chris? But anyway, back onto this fight. Derrick Brunson. I just want to say, I think Kevin Holland is awesome and he's been on a great run. I just think Derrick Brunson has improved incredibly under Henry Hooft. What we've seen from him, he looks like a different fighter since the loss to Adesanya in 2019, I think it was, or 2018. And I have a feeling he's going to drown Holland a little bit. I think he's going to be patient. I think he's not going to fall into the same traps he did against Adesanya. I think he's just going to eke out a decision. And I think he might frustrate Holland. Oh, yeah, but 100%. Look, I could be completely wrong. That's the good thing about all this.
I mean, that's the one thing with Derrick Brunson. I mean, Kevin Holland is very much a fighter on the up. Kevin Brunson, he's been around for a long time. He's been fantastic, even going back to Strikeforce when he was fighting Jacare. I mean, if you look, he's been in the UFC 8-9 years. He's got fantastic wins over people like Lorenz Larkin, Sam Alvey, Uriah Hall, Lyoto Machida. He's on a free fight tear. If you look at a lot of his wins, a lot of his losses, they've all been to top guys. I mean, 2 against Jacare, 1 against Yoel Romero, 1 against Robert Whittaker, 1 against Israel Adesanya. So, he is only losing to the top people. And his losses against Jacare in, I think, 2012 and 2017, no offense to Jacare and Kevin Holland, but that was a different level Jacare than the Jacare that Kevin Holland fought, a little bit more on the wash side. And it is an absolute pick-em. Nick's got a really, really good pick there because to me, this is a 50-50 pick him. And I think if it does come down to a 50-50 pick him, you probably are sometimes best to go with the guy with the higher odds.
Yes, I am just going for this. I think I could get some points here. I'm behind Chris. I'm doing really badly. Again, predictably, I'm not doing very well. I mean, I've been getting a good number of picks right, but I lost out on the method of victory, things like that, on the triple or nothing. So, but look, this is the SCMP MMA post-fight podcast, and we put our necks on the line. We always go triple or nothing. It's how we roll. Yeah. We get it right, we get it right, we get it wrong, we lose a lot of points. But
and 100%, and just so you know out there, guys, there are some picksters who will go out there every week, give their picks, and then if you actually go back after the fights and watch their picks and you watch their recap show, they tend to change a few things and say, well, I picked this guy, and you watch it back and they didn't, but they just want to keep that percentage pretty high. Ours are all there, our historical ones, and as well, what's great on the app is you can break it down by a month. I think they're going to be adding a feature possibly where you might even just be able to break it down by see who's doing good in one championship, see who's doing good in UFC, because, some people are absolute UFC heads, some people are one championship heads, but we just like to throw it all together and see who knows the sport of MMA the best.
Yeah, it's all for fun. It's all good. And yes, Chris, we put our necks on the line, don't we? We don't mess about. There's no flip-flopping from us. We don't change our picks. Once we pick them, they're locked in.
Yeah.
So I'm locked in. I might have egg on my face if Kevin Holland knocks out Derrick Brunson, but that's the game.
100%.
Well, Alan Bones Jones, what's up, Alan, is asking if Brunson beats Holland, can he get the winner of one of the other big middleweight fights like Vittori versus Till or Hall Weidman? And then he's also suggested maybe Jack Hermansson might be on the table for the winner. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think Jack Hermansson is probably better. I think someone coming off a loss is probably better where these guys are. I don't think the winner of Till Vittori would be looking at these guys. I think it's more likely the loser of Till Vittori or the winner of Hall or Weidman because they are lower down the rankings. I think Hermansson would be a good one. I don't know if he's got a fight lined up yet, but would absolutely love to see Jack Hermansson back in the cage.
Yeah, and just to let you know how other users on the app are voting, 76% of people have picked Kevin Holland. So the bookies are also going strong favorite for Holland there. Look at those odds. He's not too strong, minus 165. But yeah, if you want to make some money or make some points on this app, Brunson may be a good bet for you. But why don't we go to the next fight, Chris, the co-main event this weekend? Here we go. Gregor Gillespie is back. The gift against Brad Riddell. So Gillespie coming off that really, really bad KO against Kevin Lee, I think. Is that right? In the Madison Square Garden card, I think it was.
Yeah, he lost his O that night. He was putting in a fairly good performance. There's nothing you can do to stop that kick from Kevin Lee. And, Kevin Lee, the phenom, he is an odd fighter because, one fight he's capable of everything, but does he always do it? He doesn't always do it. To me, this is the fight of the main card. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Brad Riddell, just absolutely one of my favorite fighters. One of the best guys to come out of City Kickboxing. Definitely probably in my top 3 fighters, actually. I probably rank him in terms of potential above Dan Hooker, which says something because Dan Hooker is an absolute beast in that octagon. It is so hard to say. Brad Riddell, favorite fighter, got to see him a few times back in the day in China. I think was it Glory of Heroes he was fighting. He actually fought some people who were lower down on this card, and we'll get to that later. But for this fight, I'm still on that Gregor Gillespie hype train. I'm always gonna put a little asterisk next to that loss to Kevin Lee. I'm gonna call it a little bit freakish. I'm gonna back Gregor Gillespie. I think he's got all the skills. I think he is legitimately in this weight class probably one of the most well-rounded people. He is 33, and I think he just needs to keep on grinding, keep on climbing because this guy is top 5 caliber. And as we start to see some of the older guys fall out of the top 5, we've got Michael Chandler, Charlie Olives, and some of these other guys coming in. Gregor Gillespie should be one of those guys, if you can get a great performance tonight, he should really be looking at who loses some of these upcoming matches you've got between that absolutely packed lightweight division. So wholeheartedly, I am going to back up Gregor Gillespie and join the 73% of people on the MMA Fanatics app. But I will say, I would not be surprised if Brad Riddell can do this either. Fantastic fighter.
Yep, Gregor Gillespie minus 240 favorite here. Brad Riddell plus 210. 27% of people picking him on the app. So you could pick up some points there if you go for Brad and he gets the win. But I'm with you, Chris. I think the Kevin Lee loss may have been a freak thing. I'm back on the hype train too. I'm swinging left. I'm joining you and Drake over on the left. I saw JHK popped his head up in the comments there. John, you're on the app. Finally, but you haven't made your picks yet.
Put some picks in, John.
Yeah, what's going on, John?
Yeah, I heard he's just gonna do one fight every week, and he's gonna just do a gimme and try and game the system.
I have to have a word with the Fanatics guys if he does that. Yeah. Well, look, I'm on Team Gregor here. Yeah, going for Gregor. One Championship UK is asking, are we doing Fists of Fury 3? Yeah, we will be doing a fight companion tomorrow, and I think we're going to jump on maybe an hour before it starts to preview it, make our picks then. And yeah, we'll be here like usual. Come join us. Chris, you be there?
Oh, yeah, definitely 100%. hopefully we'll finish work early enough and be here to preview the show just before it starts. And I'm really excited to actually, it's not the biggest card, but what you tend to find out sometimes is when you call it a boring card, it will always shock you and excite you. And with it being pre-recorded, there's and some changes to the cards previously. There's a reason they've put these 6 fights together on one card. It's probably because we're going to see a whole lot of action.
Yes, sir. Alan Bones Jones wants Gregor Gillespie against Cowboy if Donald beats Sanchez, which I think he will do badly. Do you like that matchup, Chris?
Yeah, 100%. I think it'd be a great matchup, a little bit of a changing of the guard. And yeah, I don't know if it's a great matchup for Cerrone. Because, I mean, Cerrone's 4 or 5 fights in a row now without a win. I think he's 1 draw and 4 losses in his last 5. So, he is really starting to get to that point in his career where it's like maybe he gets caught or it's the end of his contract. See the UFC releasing people. So I don't know if it's a great move for him. I think maybe like if he gets the win over Sanchez, I think maybe he should RDA going back to lightweight if he doesn't fight Islam Makhachev. Something like that would be quite good for Cerrone and RDA. I like it when they put the old guys together.
Okay, man. Well, let's keep going. Alan also asking, is this on ESPN, cable TV, or ESPN Plus? I don't know, actually. We live in Hong Kong. We get it on Now TV. Yeah, we get it on Fight Pass.
It is called UFC on ESPN, so I would assume the prelim card will be on ESPN 2 and the main card will be on ESPN or ESPN Plus, but I'm not totally sure. I am not stateside. I do apologize. Alan Bones Jones.
The cousin of John Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Adrian Yanez against Gustavo Lopez. Bantamweight bout. Who you got, Chris?
See, this is a totally interesting fight. Adrian Yanez, I believe, is fighting out at Houston Metro Fight Club, while on the other hand, Gustavo is in Las Vegas with Extreme Couture. They're both fairly new to the UFC. This will be Gustavo's 3rd fight. He has 1 loss to Divashvili. And then you have Adrian Yanez, who, if I remember, had a fantastic round 1 win against, I can't remember the guy's name, back in the Contender Series. He came through LFA. He's a pretty strong contender. He's got a fairly good record. I think he fought for the belt in LFA. Came off a strong performance, very well-rounded, great stand-up, great wrestling base. And I just think there's a little bit more about him. And you do tend to find there is a reason that the UFC lets these guys grow in the LFA and then brings them into Contender Series. And with this one, I'm going to have to go with Yanez. Just everything I've seen of him, he looks really dynamic, really good stand-up, likes to push forward, and a really good base. So I'm going to live by the sword, and I will go by Yanez.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by what I saw from Yanez on Contender Series and then in his UFC debut. So I'm with Yanez. I'm with you. No arguments. So is Drake. That's 3 of us, Chris. We're all going left. He's kind of bringing this mini Masvidal thing, isn't he now? The nickname is starting to catch on. Yeah. Looks a little bit like him. Fights a little bit like him. Very interesting.
He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's pretty good with the mic. He's cool. He's cool. Like in the same way Masvidal, in the same way Conor McGregor when he first came in, he's got an aura of cool about him. Kind of a little bit maybe like Figueiredo has an cool rather than a big persona than like Cejudo, for example. But definitely one to watch for the future.
Yes. Let's look at the stats on the app. Sorry. They're not been updated. 0% have picked either fighter. If you're watching Fanatics, guys, I think there's a bug there. And the odds, though, have it Yanez is the favorite. The odds aren't on here either. Sorry, guys. I messed up. They messed up. Hopefully, they get the odds on here soon. But Alan is asking, I hope Adrian Yanez wins, then he hopefully ends up fighting Randy Costa. 2 young prospects. Do you like that matchup, Chris?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Yeah, definitely. 135, it's pretty much the second best men's division we have right now. It is super duper stacked. And just it's all about just getting into that top 15 and get yourself ranked. I think, in all honesty, pretty much only the lightweight division has more talent right now than the 135ers. And there's so many good prospects coming through there.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's go on down the card. We've got to get through all these fights. How many this week? Is it 15 again? No, it can't be. Hopefully a little less than the last two cards. They've been monster cards, haven't they, Chris?
Oh, 100%.
How many we got? One. Oh, it says at the top, doesn't it? Okay, there are only 11. That's a little bit easier to digest for us on the previews, and then when you're watching the show, a little too long, the last card, I thought. Song Kinan against Max Griffin. Song, one of our boys from we are the SCMP, Chris. The assassin. We're going to big him up. Welterweight bout, but who you got?
This is such a hard one to call. Song Kanan is just such an interesting character. For most of his career in China, went over, had a fight in Road, had some fights over in Japan. And this is what you have to remember. This guy is actually like the Chinese Donald Cerrone in a way, because he fights anyone, anywhere, anytime. I mean, he's fighting at 170 at the moment. I mean, he went down to 75 kilos back in China and fought Brad Riddell, who's higher up on the card. And I think he cut down to 75 kilos, which is about 164 pounds. He's gone up in China to 187, where he got viciously knocked out by Israel Adesanya at 187 pounds. So this is a guy who's gone down close to lightweight. I think he's fought as low down as 160 and gone all the way up to 190. Maybe he's found his weight at 170. He hasn't really fought that top echelon of fighter yet. He's got some solid wins, Krantz, Callum Potter, but no one who's really been able to stick around in the UFC or really put their name on it. And then you've got Max Griffin, who's just had an up and down career. He's got some pretty good wins over Mike Perry, bad losses though to Thiago Alves, Alex Morono, so there and thereabout. I mean, he fought Colby Covington back in the day. And this is such a hard fight to call. And you know what? Usually, because we are the South China Morning Post, I always go with the Chinese fighter. But Max Griffin looks a beast. He's just been in the UFC a little bit longer. He's been very active. And I think for all I want to do, I think I have to back Max Griffin here. I just think his nous, his knowledge ability will just be able to get him through. And he's coming off a pretty strong win back in November. So I'm going to actually back Max Griffin to get the win here.
Oh, how dare you, Chris?
Yeah, I know.
How dare you? I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to go with Song.
Man, if Song can get this win here, he'll be on a 3-fight streak. He's only lost twice in the UFC. He really needs to start up in his level and fighting people who are a bit of a level above, because really he's just fighting people who are dipping into the UFC and having a few fights and going out, or not really establishing themselves. And I want to see all the Chinese fighters do well. Ideally, just at least get ranked. So that would be ideal. But yeah, back Max Griffin for this one.
Yeah, Song on a 2-fight win streak. He is 4-1 in the UFC. He's beaten Potter and Krantz last 2 wins. So you can get all these stats on the app, Fanatics. Get fanatics.app. It's got all the records, all of that stuff, all the odds, all the data you need to make an informed decision about who to pick. I'm trying to get the guys to add all of that into this browser version I've got here, but I'm not a coder, Chris. I don't know how easy it is to add all this stuff. I'm sure it's not that easy. So I can't say anything bad about those guys. They always help me out anytime I ask for anything. So we'll try and get all that info added here so we can show you on screen. But if you don't have the app, what are you doing? Just go download it now and join in the fun. Anyway, 73% of people, they're all with you, Chris and Drake. They're going for Max Griffin. So yeah, Vegas is thinking the same way as well. Minus 195 for Griffin. I'm gonna gamble here. I think maybe I can get some points, can have a little success. And as I say, the assassin,
Definitely.
man. Gotta
There
back
is
him.
a big chance of that. And what you do have to think as well is Kanana's really good. I mean, he's got the loss to Izzy and Bradradel, but he's got a lot of wins off a lot of Russians fighting in China. Obviously, they do share a border. He's got a lot of wins off ethnic Mongolians and people from Mongolia who tend to have a good wrestling background. So I wouldn't sleep on him in that department. But Max Griffin does hit hard, and it's going to be tough. And it does say something as well to me about fighters who can fight as low as 160 and up to 190 that maybe they put their body through a lot. Yeah. And I was just going to say, before we get past this fight, I know it's not on the Fanatics app right now, but I heard it's been announced. It's just at the beginning of the main card before this fight. I believe we do have Tai Tuivasa.
Oh, has it just been added?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not on the app. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I will just give everyone a very quick rundown. It's Tai Tuivasa versus Harry Hunsucker. He was supposed to fight Dontel Miles, who's a pretty good prospect, came out of the Contender Series, I think, fought a few times in fight nights, lost to Cyril Gain, got another win, but he pulled out. So Ty's fight Harry Hunsucker. This is just a gimme for Ty. When they add it to the app, I will tell everyone to go for Tai Tuivasa. Harry Hunsucker is 7-3, lost his first two fights. He is the Hard Rock MMA champion, which is the biggest promotion out there in Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia way. I don't know how far that goes, but I truly expect Tai Tuivasa to knock him out. There's a reason they put this fight at the beginning in the main card, and I think it's so you can see Tai Tuivasa get a knockout, do a shoey, and start the show off and get everyone talking and excited about the fights.
Yeah, as Alan is saying, shoeies. Yes.
Yes.
I think Ty looked really good last time out. He's dropped a lot of weight, hasn't he? He's seems to be taking it a lot more seriously. Is he at AKA now?
Yeah, I do believe so. So that should be good. Should be good for his game. And coming off a fairly decent win over Stefan Struve, he has only really lost to the Ivanov and JDS, who are much more experienced than him. And do think it is a big leap forward. And you know what? He's kind of got that, like, there's something lovable about Tuivasa, and he kind of fills that big Mark Hunt-shaped hole that we have in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, Alan is the one-man comment machine today in the chat box. Thank you, Alan, for keeping it busy. Saying if Bam Bam wins, maybe Tuivasa against Andrei Arlovsky. Do you like that?
Yeah, that's definitely a fantastic fight. I think Ty has actually dropped out the rankings, so it might be a little bit too much. Maybe Olenek, Martian Tybora, Aspinall. He'd have to get someone on the edge of the rankings, really. So might be a little bit too much. I guess I don't know if Arlovsky is ranked, so that could be a shout, definitely.
Okay. I'll ask the guys to add that one. Yeah, actually, James has just texted me saying, I've just seen Tuivasa has a new opponent too. So that will be added to the app very soon. I will also pick Tuivasa for the record. Let's make it official.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheyenne Bays against Montserrat Ruiz. Women's strawweight bout. Chris, who you got?
See, this is so hard. I really like Cheyenne Byers. I think she's a fantastic fighter. Very well rounded. Gotta love the fact that she calls herself the Warrior Princess. Big up to everyone who was a big fan of Lucy Lawless and Xena the Warrior Princess. So I have got to big that up. She has really come in to the UFC. She's done pretty well. Oh, sorry, this is her first fight, but she had a fantastic Contender Series fight. Fought in LFA earlier out of Fortis MMA, which is a top gym. But the problem is with these kind of fights is you get these fights, and I remember we had it a few months ago with the girl from Panama, and you get some of these fighters where they don't have too much of a record. She was fighting in Invicta where she was pretty solid, but she's done a lot of her work on the regional scene. I know her jiu-jitsu is good because she trains out of 10th Planet. With Eddie Bravo. Her main gym is King's MMA. The thing is, this is me. And I'm gonna on this fight, I will game the system. And just because you can get these freaks from Mexico, get these freaks from Central America, we don't know much about them. We don't really know what they're doing on the regional scene. So to try and game the system and game a whole lot of points, I'm gonna go with. No, you know what? I'm gonna go with Cheyenne Baez. I'm gonna go with who I think is the better fighter. I'm not going to try and game the system. I'm going to go with who I think is the better fighter. Sharon Barnes is the better fighter. Everything she's shown me is the better fighter. Because they are trying to fill out as well the women's division. So both of them probably have a pretty good future. I'm going to go with Cheyenne Barnes. No, you know what? I'm changing again. I'm gonna go. No,
you can flip flop on the show, Chris. Just as soon as the show is finished, you're locked in. I enforce that rule.
I'm gonna stick with Cheyenne Baez, but I'll tell everyone I won't be surprised if Ruiz wins by some sort of submission. She's a bit of a submission specialist. So,
if you're watching there, Ruiz, we're missing the record on her. She has fought before. This isn't her first professional fight. She is 8-1, I think, according to this app. You can look at her record on there, and she's missing a picture. Those guys will get it all sorted. They iron out some bugs. It's all a work in progress. I'm gonna join you, Chris. I think Cheyenne Baez. She is a heavy favorite here, minus 355, but 52% people picking Ruiz on the app. I think they're sensing a chance to make some points. Some dough here. What do you think?
Over in the UK and some other countries, on Ruiz, they are offering 3-1 odds. When you see 3-1 odds in a 2-horse race, the bookies might know something we don't.
Yeah. So I'm going for Baez. Why's Drake picked Ruiz? I think Drake's going to join us soon. He's just finishing up a WMMA pod, so he'll be jumping in. I think we'll get his picks and his explanations. I want to know if he makes a convincing case. We can still change our picks during the show, Chris.
Oh, definitely. And where he's wandered from us, we can definitely ask him some questions. Alan Bones Jones was saying maybe the winner faces Angela Hill. Wow.
Yeah, Alan Jones, the one-man commenting machine. Thank you again, Alan, for all these. What do you think of that, Chris? Hill, I think Hill's going to be looking higher, isn't she?
I think Hill is looking higher. She's a little bit of a favorite of the UFC. They like to get her in the studio nowadays, and she has a little bit of a mixed record. But particularly when you look over her last 5-6 fights, she's only really lost to the top people. Michelle Waterson, I think before that, Yan Xiaonan. So I think Angela Hill's probably just a step ahead of it, definitely. And to his other comment, Tuivasa versus Tomas Bernal would be absolutely awesome fight. But I think Tomas Bernal is probably going to get a little bit of a push higher up. They do tend to like a Brit in the UFC. They do like an Aussie as well. So we will see. But I think the only big Brit and the only big Aussie really in those top 2 weight classes, I think they'd like to keep them apart until they really have to put them together.
Okay. I think JP Baez is on the card as well, right? Husband and wife. Yeah. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But for now, we're going to go down the card. It's Marion Renault against Macy Kiyason, bantamweight bout. Who you got, Chris?
Wow, this is super duper hard. I do, in a way, sometimes feel sorry for Marion Renault because she kind of is a gatekeeper of sorts. I mean, she hasn't won all the way back to 2018. She lost to Kat Zingano, Yana Kunitskaya, and Raquel Pennington back-to-back. Before that, she'd won 3 and then lost 2 against Ashley Evans-Smith and Holly Holm. She does have a win over Jessica Andrade. So you do look, she's always fighting all the people around the top. Good win over Sarah McMahon as well. Draw with Beth Carrera. So she is there and thereabouts, and she's only fighting top people. She does seem to catch a lot of people on their way up. But the thing is, from everything I've heard about Macy, is it pronounced Kiyason? Out of
I
Texas?
don't know.
She's been pretty good in the UFC. And here's the thing, we were talking the other day on the podcast about The Ultimate Fighter and that no one really watches The Ultimate Fighter. Did you know she won The Ultimate Fighter, Nick?
Yeah. Embarrassing me here. I did not know that.
Yep, I did not know until I was looking through her fights and records yesterday. So she did win it, I think, back in 2018 or 2017. It was No Ruins Ultimate Fighter.
Tough just kind of became a blur, didn't it? Towards the end. It's hard to not pay attention to it,
but she's at
hard to pay attention. Yeah,
she's fighting with good people. Obviously, she does have the experience of Renault. I mean, you just have to say to Renault, what an absolute beast at age 43. I mean, there's not many men who are fighting past that age in the UFC, and I can't think of another woman who's in her 40s in the UFC. I might be proven wrong by some people in the comments, but yeah, definitely. I just have to back Macy here. She's, 5 inches taller. She's got a 4-inch reach advantage, fighting out of 40s. She can finish by knockout. She's got ground and pounds on her record, submissions. I think on the way through The Ultimate Fighter, I think she finished every fight. So for sure, I've got to back Macy on this one. And I'm looking forward to it, actually, because we need a little bit more blood in that 135 division.
Yeah. Alan didn't know either, so I feel less bad about that. I'm with you, Chris. I'm going for Macy here, and most of the people on the app are 87% of Fanatics users with Macy Kiyason. Yeah, not much more to say. She's minus 205, heavy favorite here. Marion Renault, though, she's the veteran. Got a couple of wins under her. Oh no, 3 losses in a row. Sorry. The odds are something. They flip the bloody things around on the app. Yeah. She's not on a good run, is she? So she could be one in danger of being cut, you think?
Quite possibly, but they do seem to like her, and especially at her age, to still have a fight in them. I don't know whether she's just planning to see out her contract or whatnot, but she seems to be willing to fight everyone who's on the come up, and she's not fighting mugs, so I think she might be a little bit of a gatekeeper, and if she's not costing them too much, I think she's a good fighter to have, and she always gives her all, and she's very well rounded.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. Decisions, isn't it? She's not getting knocked out here.
But my only criticism would be at her advanced age. As an MMA fighter, it's very, very hard to grow your game when the sport is still growing. The women's division is probably growing faster than the men's because it only started more recently. And it's much harder to grow your game and get better when your skills, your speed, your power, your agility are all in decline. So we must commend her for that, just to even stay relevant at age 43.
Yeah. Just texting James from Fanatics. We're fixing a few of these things. If anyone else sees anything missing, let us know. We can tell those guys over there. Back to the picks, Chris. Let's do it. Okay, who's next? This is go down here. Leonardo Santos, Grant Dawson, lightweight bout. Who you got?
This is actually a fight for me. I think this has potential fight of the night bonuses going in for these fighters. We've got 2 really, really good fighters, 2 really, really good prospects is the word on the come up. Both done pretty well in the UFC. I don't think either of them have lost since joining the UFC. And another one that you might not know is Santos, and I did know this beforehand. I think he got to the final of the Ultimate Fight in Brazil about 7-8 years ago. No one knows because no one really cares. And this one, people try and argue that tough is good for building stars. I mean, we've got a finalist and a winner that we don't really know and we don't consider them stars. Grant Dawson is just an absolute beast. Great wrestling, Glory MMA and Fitness, straight out of Missouri. Fantastic fighter, great wrestling. Leandro Santos, though, is not one to be slept on. Had a fantastic record down in Brazil. I think he won a Jungle Fight Championship or fought for one. And but just a little bit late in the game as well, similar to Renault, age 41 is a little bit too advanced. And I see Grant Dawson probably winning all 3 rounds on a decision here and really, really, really pushing his way up in this division and aiming for a maybe 1 more fight, 2 more fights, and really breaking into that upper echelon and getting ranked and building his way towards as high as he can get. I'm really good at that hype because he's got a fantastic record.
80% of people, Chris, are with you, going for Grant Dawson. I'm going to join them. I'm doing it. The odds, minus 190 for Grant, plus 170 for Leonardo. Make of that what you will. All the odds are available on the app. Go download it if you haven't got it. What are you doing? Get involved. Make your picks. Join us. Did I make my pick? Yeah. No, I didn't. There you go. I've made it official. Okay. Let's go. Trevin. Giles or Giles? I never get this right.
I thought it was Trevin Giles, but now you said Giles. That might just be right.
Well, let's just say Trevin. Someone fill us in the comments. Against Roman Dolidze. This is an interesting one, isn't it, Chris? Undefeated Dolidze. This is interesting for me. Who you got, though, first of all?
See, this is really hard. Trevin is an absolute fantastic fighter. Fought and won the belt and split decision over round span back in LFA, back in the day. Came into the UFC, making big noise. Lost to Zach Cummins and Jared Mearshart, who Zach Cummins not quite right. I think Jared Mearshart might just be there about in the rankings or just outside. He's pretty good, but he has grown his game since then. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. And we have Roman Dolidze out of Georgia, where we do have one of our favorite members of the SCMP MMA team herself, Blaze. I know it's very hard to find any tape on this guy. He's fought at light heavyweight recently, and he's been training out of Ukraine, southern Ukraine, I think. Training out there is his gym. He's got great kickboxing background, obviously. Solid wrestling. I think this is a real pick. This could be a surprise fight tonight. And you know what? Just because I like the hype around Dolidze, I hope I'm pronouncing that on some level correct. I like what I have been able to find of him. I haven't been able to find too much of him. I haven't been able to see too much tape. One win by finish, a bit of a sloppy decision, I thought, in his other fights. So I think I might, on this one, just go with Trevin, because he just seems to be really well-rounded. What he's done in LFA, and I've seen a little bit more of him. I think he might just outdo this one, but I would not be surprised if Roman was to get the win. If I was a gambling man, this would not be a fight I would be gambling on. I think there's too many variables and too many unknowns. And I'm going to go against everyone else and join the 25% in the minority and back Trevin for the win.
Yeah, as Chris says, 75% are with Roman. I'm going with them. I think this guy's meant to be pretty damn good. I think there's a bit of hype around him. Normally, my freelancer, Matt Scott, when he says this person's good, I sit up and listen. He was predicting, he was telling me about Peter Yan years ago, saying this guy's going to be future champ. Came true. And he says Roman's pretty good. So I'm going with Roman, making it official there. Got to show some love to Georgia as well, Chris.
No doubt.
You mentioned. Let's go, though. We've got Montel Jackson against Jesse Strader. So who you got here, Chris? Bantamweights.
This is such a hard one. Montel Jackson, Dana White contender series, I think 2018 alum. Pretty solid fight record. He's got some decent wins over Brian Kelleher, Felipe Corrales, 2 losses on his record, Brett Jones, Ricky Simon. Then on the other hand, you've got Jesse Strader, who obviously hasn't fought that much. He's only 5-1. His loss is against Rojo, I believe it will probably be pronounced, the Argentinian who fought last week.
Kai, yeah.
Yeah,
Marcelo Rojo.
He does the T-Rex celebration when he wins. Obviously, we didn't see that last weekend. And Montel Jackson is an absolute beast. I mean, the odds here are heavily stacked in his favor. It will not probably be one I would be gambling on because I think it's too tight, too close to call. But not in the fact that I think Strader's going to get the win, just because he's such an unknown and we don't know too much about him. I mean, I had some of the bookies in the UK were offering 6-1. Here he's is that plus 505. So there's not much confidence in him, and this would probably be one of the biggest shocks in UFC history. Usually you don't get people that far out winning a fight. So I'm going to back Montel Jackson to get the victory and to get it done. And maybe, if the bookies are right, to get it done quick.
Yeah, I'm with you, Montel Jackson. But as you said, yeah, the bookies, they're normally not that far out. But it happens sometimes, Chris, doesn't it? Our guy Sasha Palatnikov was plus 400 or something.
Definitely.
I think Trevin Jones in his debut was a heavy dog. You never know. And if you get that right, guys, on the app, you're going to be shooting up that leaderboard. So that's the beauty of this game, FANATICS MMA app. Go download it if you haven't already. The link is in that scrolling ticker. It's in the description. And come say hey in the SCMP MMA group if you get it. All right, let's go. Julia Avila against Julia Stelia Renko. Who you got, Chris?
This is such a hard one. Both of them haven't had too much experience at the UFC. Stelia Renko, the Lithuanian, I believe, has had one fight in the UFC where she lost to Yana Kunitskaya on a unanimous decision. She's a pretty solid fighter. She does come from a traditional martial arts background. And Macy Kiyason, she was actually on the same season of The Ultimate Fighter as I think she got knocked out in the semi-finals, but I might be wrong. And then on the other hand, you've got Julia Avila. I think she goes by the nickname of the Raging Panda, which I don't know why she's called the Raging Panda, but you know what? I like it. Her third fight this will be in the UFC, I think, after her fourth fight. She lost to Ciara Eubanks. She had 2 wins before that, a little bit of a history in Invicta, but pretty much won an Invicta straight into the UFC. This is a really, really tough fight to call. Julia has not shown the same weaknesses in her game that Stolyarenko has shown in her game in the past. Sometimes she gets a little bit lost in some of the wrestling aspects of the game. I find that she's a little bit poor of a back. I do think she does come from judo background. Takedown defense is not too bad, but definitely off her back, she's a little bit poor. She doesn't hit super, super hard. She's more of a volume striker. And generally on that, I'm going to go with Julia. I just think she's probably a touch above in the class. And I think it's probably going to be a win by knockout. But this could go either way. It is a really tight fight. And they don't have much UFC experience. So it's very hard to put where they are.
I'm with you, Chris. I'm with Drake. I'm just going to follow you guys. I'm weak. And 83% of people are picked Julia Avila. I'm with him.
The one thing I will say about Julia Avila is, and it does show how good she is, when she did make her debut, I think about 7 years ago when she was 25, 26, I believe it was against Marion Renault. And she beat her in her debut. And you look where Marion Renault is and how long she's been in the UFC. And obviously back then, Marion Renault was much younger, so much closer to her prime. And to get a win does show that she must be pretty good at this game, because I don't know how much Marion Renault has grown in the last 5-6 years. But I would assume Julia, at the age of 32, has probably grown a touch more. And am I right to say there's an interview with Julia?
There is. JHK did one.
Yeah, JHK did it. It's on SCMP MMA. I would check it out, guys. It's a really, really good interview. Yeah, man, the whole team, fantastic interviewers. Nick and John Honko are the 2 hardest working men in all of MMA, in my opinion.
No,
I don't know who those other guys are. Ariel Helwani, Brett Okamoto. They only get it because they work for ESPN. Mark Raimondi, Aaron Bronstetter. I don't even know who they are. I can't even spell their last names. Why have they got so many letters?
Aaron's a very nice guy, and so is Brett.
Yeah, I know. He's nice. Yeah. I know he's nice, but
I haven't met Ariel.
He's
I got
no
problem there.
he's not as nice as you, Nick, because none of them have bought me a drink before, and you have.
Yeah. Well, maybe Aaron would buy you one if you were there with Aaron. You never know.
Yeah,
Or
who
Brett.
knows?
Who
Yeah,
knows?
John Glidden bought me a drink, so he's all right.
Good on John. Good on
Yeah.
John. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. One last fight, Chris. Let's do it. Let's wrap it up. It is the opener, Bruno Silva and JP Bays, husband of Cheyenne. Flyweights. Here we go. Who you got?
I forget, because isn't this the second time they fought on the same card? Aren't they kind of doing this similar to what they did with the Koskes, where they have the Koskes fight on Contender Series and fight on the same cards to do the brother thing? Isn't this kind of what they're doing with Cheyenne and JP, or haven't they fought before on the same card?
It's weird if they do that, because surely you'd want the other one in your corner, for your fight. And
well, my only issue is if he goes and he gets the living hell beaten out of him, is that going to fight? I guess maybe she just doesn't watch it, but I would assume you don't want to affect the other person's mentality. So definitely a hard place to be in. If I was them, I'd rather be the one fighting first than the one fighting second.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, this is a tough one to call. Bruno Silva, top fighter. Former, was he? I can't remember what he was a champion in, but he is a former champion. I think maybe over in WFF. This is kind of last saloon maybe for him. He hasn't won yet in the UFC. This will be his fourth fight. And just JP Byers. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with this on the Fanatics app. I think they've got him at 4-1. The UFC website has him, I think, at 9-2. He's a solid fighter. He's down at Fortis, obviously, with his wife. Both coming off their wins in the Contender Series. He is such an interesting fighter. He lost in the Contender Series back in 2017. He went to EFC, and for those of you out there who do not know, EFC is the premier promotion out there in Africa. All fantastic fighters. They've got as well Duplessis has come through there, and tons of other fighters coming over from Africa are going through that route. He also had the opportunity to go and fight the number one contender in Brave. He went back to EFC, defended his belt after losing in the Contender Series in 2017. He made a return to the Contender Series in 2020, got the win, and now he's finally getting his opportunity to prove himself at the top table in the UFC. And I'm going to back JP Byers all the way.
I'm with you, Chris.
Yeah,
80% of people on the app are as well, and the odds are -140 for JP, +125 for Bruno. I'm with JP Bays though. He looked very good. Alan Bones Jones, thank you for all the comments, sir. He says this is a really Yeah, I agree with him.
The thing is, what makes this card so good is you've got really interesting pictures to who gets ranked. You've got some guys who are ranked 5 to 10 in their divisions who are fighting out there. And I think what really makes this card so fantastic is this. I think what we just went through it. 4 or 5 real pick'ems here. I mean, the main event, the co-main event, Yanez Gustavo Lopez fight is really a pick'em. The Griffin Song fight could be really close. Cheyenne Byers versus the unknown Anthony Montserrat Ruiz is a tough one. Grandos Leandro Santos, Trevin versus Roman Dolidze. You got Montel Jackson, which I think that one might be a little bit of a walkover. And then JP Byers. And it is a really hard card to choose. All the fights. Definitely do not see anyone getting all the fights right on the app. And what's the name of this app again, Nick? Can you tell me?
It's Fanatics Fantasy MMA. You can get it from the App Store, or you can go to getfanatics.app. The link is in our description. It's on the scroller there. Also, Chris, you got to remind them, if they don't know, what have they got to do? They got to like and subscribe, haven't they?
Oh, 100%, guys. Come on. If you like all this content, if you like all the interviews that we're putting out there, I mean, we've got people all the way down on Discord, from the main event all the way down to the pretty much the opening fights on the prelim card. We don't discriminate. Any fighter who wants to come on this show, be interviewed, give us their thoughts, is more than welcome. We try and give our honest opinions. We try and do our picks. We try and have a little bit of fun. We do one championship. We do UFC. And come April, we'll be doing some of those big Bellator cards. MMA fans, Japanese MMA fans, John Honko on the website's been putting out some absolutely fantastic rising quality content. Some great interviews for what I think it's on Saturday. So for you big MMA heads out there, you got one championship on Friday night or Friday morning in the US and anywhere in between. Saturday, you've got a great rising card in the afternoon if you're over here in Asia, in the morning in Europe and America. And then got the UFC. So it's a fantastic night of fantastic weekend of fights. And I think, you know what, come back Monday, Tuesday when we recap it all, and I bet you there'll be loads to talk about.
Yeah, Alan is asking if we're going to do a post-fight stream for the fight night. I probably will be doing that. Some weeks we just don't do them if we don't have enough people to do it. We didn't do one last week, basically, but yeah, it might be. Although we'll see, Chris, won't we? I never like to promise in case there isn't one. But
I just want to ask very quickly to Alan Bones Jones while he's still in the comments. What fight are you looking forward to the most this weekend? Because mine is probably the co-main event. Gregor Gillespie. That's probably the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Gregor Gillespie versus Brad Riddell. That's the one I'm going for.
I'm kind of just on that main event. You know, I'm not being very original there, but I'm really.
No, man, that's absolutely fine, man. There's a reason they're main events, you know, and I mean, pretty much whoever wins that is really, really in the reckoning, and only 2 wins away really from a title.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Yanez does as well, and how if Song Kanan can do his thing, we'll see. But yeah, Yanez for me, I'm not necessarily looking for the fight, excited about that fight. I'm excited about seeing him. But if you're talking about fight, I want to see the most. Main event, a bit boring. Alan is saying co-main and the main as well. So it's just one of those cards, isn't it, I think? But there's no shame in that, is there? That's why these things exist. But anyway, yeah, I think we're through. We're done. Thank you, Chris. What does the rest of the day hold for you?
Probably a cheeky little gym session. And then maybe a little bit of lunch later. I don't know if I'm going to go out for a lunch set or whatnot. But I guess the weather's not good.
I'm interested in a lunch set.
Lunch. Well, we'll sort that out off screen, guys. Look after yourselves. Don't forget to tune in Friday night Hong Kong time. If you work from home or you can get your earpods in and you want to know what's going on in one championship, you can't watch the fights, or you want to watch the fights, but you don't want to hear the great Mitch Chilson and Michael Chavello, and you don't want to hear all the Goodnight Irenes, you can sync us up, and we can be your radio announcers, give you some banter, give you some fun. You can be your pretend guys for the night, and that's it.
Yeah, come check it out. It should be about 7 o'clock, 7:30 Hong Kong time. About an hour and a half before the show, we'll get things rolling with a preview. But yeah, for Chris, I'm Nick. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time.